Ohio State's mission throughout the playoffs has been to leave no doubt. And that's exactly what needs to happen tonight when the Buckeyes battle with the Fighting Irish in the national championship.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Monday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. Simply visit FanDuel.com to get started. During today's show, we will discuss our final thoughts before Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the national championship. Also discuss if there are any areas of weakness for the Buckeyes in tonight's game. But before we get to any of that, joining us for the entire show today, it's my guy, Jeff Hunt of Jeff Needs Sports. And Jeff, you've been around here for quite a long time throughout the entire season, seeing the emotions that are high, sometimes they're very low. And now we're right here. The Buckeyes are in the national championship game tonight. And one thing throughout the entire playoffs, Ryan Day has been preaching, leave no doubt. And that's don't leave it up to a call. Don't leave it up to a play. Leave no doubt. Let your play do the speaking, and you're going to win the game. And I think that same thing has to happen tonight, that the Buckeyes can't leave it up to a play. They can't leave it up to a call. They can't let somebody else dictate the outcome of the game. They must take that into their own hands, and they must leave no doubt during the Natty tonight.
Yeah, they must leave no doubt. They must have no doubt. That's going to be the key to the game is can they can the team that showed up against Oregon a few weeks ago do it again? Like, can Will Howard trust his arm? Against Texas, we didn't see that. I think we saw conservative. We saw too concerned, and rightfully so. Texas defensive backs are fantastic. We didn't take as many chances. We didn't try to force anything. But this is a game to where it's like, if Jeremiah Smith has an inch, you got to force it. You got to trust what you would have done all season. If this Buckeye team can trust what they do all season and not have doubt, they'll be fine. And I think that's the key to the game. And as far as, like you said, Day is right about that. Don't let this get down to a targeting, rule like that took them out of 2019. Don't let it get out to a fumble call in the same game. All of these things, don't do it. And we've seen that so far. Jack Sawyer, the play, you know what I mean? The strip, the ball bounces, secure it. Don't get the touchdown, end the game right there. That's the things we need to say. That could have been a oh man, what if moment. We've had so many what if moments under this Ryan Day regime. Like, what if this and what if that? We have to put that all in their head. Get it to where the bad call happens. Honestly, like when you're up 21. Like you did Oregon and like you did Tennessee. So it's I don't know. It's crazy. I like their mindset. They seem to believe in their mindset. It's not just coach speak. But on the other side of it, Notre Dame believes in everything they're doing too. So this is a real mental battle in this game, a real psychological game, if you will.
Psychological game is a very good way to describe it, because when you think about the national championship, you're going up against a team that is your caliber. They have earned the right to be here.
Yeah.
And this path for both teams is harder than any other path to get to the national championship game. And so the psychological thing is huge. While there's a physical part of it, both teams are battling injuries. The physical part is expected. But sometimes these types of games, the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, the national championship game in college football, sometimes these games are won or even lost because of the mental aspect of it. And I think Ohio State, they're able to find ways to bounce back after boneheaded decisions, or even Will Howard. I can't get away from it. I give Will Howard 2 bad throws a game. I just expect it. Unfortunately, one last game was an interception, but I give him 2 bad throws a game. He generally does not allow those things to get him off of his game or to keep him down. The one time it happened, I think he was physically not 100%, and that's why that game partially ended the way that it did. But for the most part, this team has been able to overcome mental hurdles all season long, offensively, defensively. You've even seen the kicker, Jaden Fielding, overcome some mental blocks that he's had and made some big kicks. I think against Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And that aspect is huge because if Ohio State was physically ready for battle, cool. But if they weren't mentally ready for battle, Jeff, I don't think you or I would be confident that they would win this game. But I think that mental aspect is a big reason why people like us believe Ohio State will win tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. It would be disrespectful for me to question this team's, mental toughness and the way they bounce back, because this is what makes this game so unique. And this is why we love this first time ever, college football national championship. I've just watched this team play 3 games. I would be a complete dope to say like, oh, I don't know if they got what it takes to tough out a game when we just saw them, we saw them, again, we've said it a million times, recover from the Michigan loss, bounce back, play an SEC team, mash them, then play the best team in the country at that point, mash them, and then to play a very, very, very talented Texas team, overcome, everything, bad play, bad overall play by the quarterback, couple bad bounces, interception, all this, and have a goal line stand and win the game by 14. Like, it would be ridiculous for me to question, like, can this team, overcome adversity? Will they get rattled? Will they get shaken? Do they have the mental makeup? And even Ryan Day, I think we've talked about it already. Like, I think Chip Kelly helped and Knowles helped, but like, he's managed the game better. He hasn't panicked on the timeouts. He's not freaking out on the sideline over something that's already happened. He's able to move on and adjust and not let a bad play continue to haunt him, for the rest of the game. So like, I have zero worries about whether this team's mentally tough enough. And a lot of that comes from being, you got a lot of four-year guys. You got a lot of guys who have been through so much and heard everything. But what I like the most is, like, typically it's a one game. Like, if it's a regular season, the pressure on Ohio State because of being Ohio State. Here's the thing. We've already seen 3 games. Like, Notre Dame can try all they want. I don't care. They can point at the numbers on, the betting sites or whatever. Nobody is going to believe they're an underdog after they just won 3 playoff games to get here.
Not at all.
So the huge advantage that every single team that plays Ohio State usually has isn't there. And that's giant. It's really like, I've always said this, if things are even, Ohio State, always has a chance. So that's what I like most about this, is that they can't play the like, whoa, man, if anybody says nobody thinks we can do it in this game from either side, they're crazy. So that's what I like most, is like, this is really about, mental toughness, physical toughness, and, who really adjust. This is about adjustments. This is a game of adjustments.
Do you think Ryan Day is up to the challenge to adjust on the fly like he needs to tonight?
I do think he is, only because he's done it. He's been prepared for every game. Texas was a little iffy. That was a kind of a weird called game. So I guess when I really look back at that was probably the worst game of the 3, obviously, but still, like, I don't know. Some of the plays were there. Like, I look back at the Tate drop on the goal line. I'm like, perfect play call. I look back but I mean, then I also look at the screen pass, perfect play call.
Yeah.
So I think he's done pretty good, but the way that they played, the other 2 has just been amazing. And even when I go back to look at how they played Penn State and how they played Indiana, 2 other playoff teams, it wasn't the really bad coaching game was Nebraska and Michigan. Those were the 2 that like really sit on Ryan Day's shoulders this year. We're past that now, but most overall, the games have been like, you get a feel for what's working and keep at it. And Will Howard's been a big part of, being able to trust your quarterback helps.
What concerns do Jeff and I have about Ohio State versus Notre Dame tonight? We'll answer that question next. This message is brought to you by Prize Picks, the place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions in winnings, Prize Picks has changed the game in daily fantasy sports. Whether it's playoffs or regular season, Prize Picks has made it easier than ever to win big while enjoying all the football action. Now it's playoff time, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks. Here's how it works. You simply pick more or less on at least 2 players, and if your picks hit, you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. Yes, that's right. 1,000 times your money just by making a few simple picks. Ready to run your game this football season? Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, $50 just for playing. Don't wait. take your game to the next level with Prize Picks. Prize Picks, run your game. So, Jeff, when it comes to this type of game, I think any coach out there and any player out there will tell you there are things the opposition can do, if they're being honest, that the opposition can do to take advantage of that team's weakness. While Ohio State doesn't have many weaknesses, they do have some. I'm going to throw it to you first, Jeff. What concerns do you have about this game tonight?
It's definitely Notre Dame's run defense. If Notre Dame, because Ohio State's running game's not great. They've been pretty good, in the playoffs, and they've been able to power out some first downs and stuff, which has been awesome. I think Judkins, like, as far as like what he's done this season, doesn't jump off the screen. But then if you really look at it, he's really got some good hard yards. He against Texas, he was awesome. But if Notre Dame can shut that down without bringing help, and then they can go man to man, that definitely a problem for Ohio State. If they have to go, I mean, it's so cliche, but if Ohio State has to go one dimensional, then obviously it's going to be a tougher game. But that's the one weakness I see, is that Notre Dame's just run defense at front seven can really turn it into a one-dimensional game. And then now Howard has to play a perfect game. Can he do it? Yes, but that would be my worry, is that we can't get especially Henderson going and open up the pass game. That's a huge concern for me.
One that's in my head, and it's been in my head for a while, is regards to Notre Dame's defense as well. It's their defensive line, and while that unit is dealing with their own set of injuries, Ohio State's offensive line has been able to get by for 3 games by rotating at guard. And at some point, I've been wondering if it's going to be a massive issue. It was an issue against Texas, but Ohio State was able to overcome that obstacle and find a way to win a game by double digits against a Texas front that's one of the best in the country. While Notre Dame's is not in the same category to me as Texas or even Oregon or even Tennessee's defensive line. I don't even think Notre Dame's defensive front is as good as Michigan's, and maybe not as good as Nebraska's. Like those are some dudes that they have up front. My issue comes into, if the rotation at guard is wrong, maybe all of a sudden they have the wrong guy in at a time when Notre Dame sees him. It's like, oh, we can exploit this guy right here, and they take advantage of it quickly. Or if Josh Fryer at right guard, maybe even Donovan Jackson at left, right tackle for Fryer or left tackle for Jackson. Let's just say that they're not as consistent as they have been. Notre Dame has guys up front that can take advantage of Ohio State's offensive line, and they can bring pressure over and over and over again to cause weaknesses, to open up the weaknesses in the Buckeyes' O-line, which will allow them to play man-to-man. Well, I don't advise anybody to play man-to-man against against Ohio State. If you're able to get pressure on Will Howard and get him off of his spot and get him off script, that's an avenue for Notre Dame to play man-to-man, and it could be a bad thing for the Buckeyes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things. I look at it and I'm like, I know that, and I know that Notre Dame, like what I see, they can do it, but I don't know if we're like, I think you just kind of said it. I don't really know that Notre Dame is a better secondary than what Ohio State's already seen. I think they're probably better than Oregon. I think Oregon's secondary got exposed, but they're not better than Texas. And that's not an insult to Notre Dame, but they're not a better secondary than Texas. So here's the thing. Everybody says, oh, the blueprint for shutting down Ohio State's offense is what Texas did. Yes, if you have NFL players in the secondary and several and if nothing worse, almost NFL players rotating on the defensive line. Yes, you are correct. That is how you slow down Ohio State's offense. You would get no argument from me. There's no secret that, and just like Ohio State's defense is a little like this, but they showed last week that they might be a step above. But yes, if Notre Dame keeps it close, their defense is going to look really good, and they're going to fight and struggle. It's going to be how it's called too. If they let them, if they let them play physical and let them play, up in them, that's going to be great. But it's also a situation to where, I know it sounds crazy, but like if Ohio State gets a little bit of a lead, then now all of a sudden we're talking about a whole different ball game, because now your defense. Let's also remember that your defense still is based on your offense, because this is the last game of the year. Nothing else matters after this. So like Notre Dame's defense playing really good and their offense is not good enough. So that really is going to dictate like chances you take, risk you take, blitzes you make, and all these things as to where like Notre Dame wants to just be probably within 10 points the whole game and have a good 7 minutes to score a couple times and win the game. And that's how they could win this game. There's no doubt about it. Ohio State wants to be up 14 and turn the dogs loose. That's how they're going to try to win the game. So it's so easy to say that you can play man-to-man versus Ohio State, but like that can't last forever. Like, it's just the truth. Like, there's you're not going to tell me that, especially like with a guy like this is, I'll put out here. Never mind. You're going to talk about in the next segment about players to watch, but I can tell you exactly springboarding off that, who it's going to be when you ask me.
You know me so well. I'm just laughing because like Jeff knows it's in my head. We've done so many shows together. It's like, oh, I won't even touch on it. I may even just give Jeff the ball and say, hey, man, go score here in the final seconds. He had a wide open lane. Go right down and just hit that layup. Jeff, in this moment, Ryan Day has gotten here for the second time in 6 years, and his first time coaching in college football. That's insane.
Yeah.
Tressel got to the Natty early in his Buckeye career, but he already won multiple national championships at the FCS level at Youngstown State. Urban got to the Natty, I think, in year 3, but he already won multiple at Florida. Yeah. So the fact that Ryan Day is doing this now in year 6 is huge. Well, and I say that because Ryan Day's learned a lot of lessons, even this year, that have helped him be the coach that he is right now. My issue is, and massive concern, it's not so much Ryan Day, it's Chip Kelly. And I wonder if at some point he's going to try to ram the ball because he has Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, who are great runners between the tackle. Henderson's been a very good between the tackle runner this year. And that's my issue. We know about the firepower outside. We know what the strengths are for the Buckeyes offensive line in pass pro and in run blocking. But my issue is, let's just say that things don't go right. Do we figure out that Day and Kelly are butting heads and maybe Day wants to take over play calling, but Kelly says no when Day is the head coach and he has final say? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I just hope that they don't try to run the ball just because they feel like they have to, because we have seen the Buckeyes offense works the best when you use a pass to open up the running lanes for the running backs.
Yeah, that's actually one of the few things that I'm concerned about. And I'll tell you why. Because of the Michigan game. Everything you're describing is exactly what screwed that game up. And they really thought they could tough it out. And we all thought they would have a better power running game and
yes,
in between the tackles and all this. Well, they don't. And so they're like, but what you do have is the screen passes, because you have great downfield blocking. You have physical wide receivers. You have talent to, even if their wide receiver's not blocking, like you can't leave Smith uncovered.
No.
And so like, if we want to compare teams and, it's hard to explain how Notre Dame, their last win against Penn State, that is not the team they're playing Monday night.
Nope,
Penn State had 0. Everybody knows this stat, 0 yards to wide receivers. I don't care how good Notre Dame's team plays. They're not going to have 0 yards to Ohio State wide receivers. And I'm not even saying they can't hold them down, but like, this is a different animal that they have to worry about. Like, you have to always have, always have an eye on number 4 and always worry about what Egbuka's doing. And then sometimes like that's how you set up these screen passes. This is how, like, everybody says spread the field. Well, what Ohio State does is also lengthens the field, and they lengthen the space. So that space in front of your safety and behind your linebackers is huge when you have wide receivers like Ohio State does. And Howard missed some of those throws against Texas. I'll just be honest with you. Some of them were there and he chose not to make them, or, he didn't quite get them. But typically he makes those throws because they open up these huge holes, in the middle of the field, because you can't turn your back, on these wide receivers, whether I don't care, but it's Tate, so like that's what makes it. So then all of a sudden now your running game's better because you have everybody farther away from the ball. I really don't think that Chip Kelly will get in his own head on this. I think he'll let the game come to him. I think if they try to run it up the middle a few times and it looks like it does, let's be honest, most of the year, to where it looks like they're running into a brick wall, I really think he just bails out. And I think they go probably 11 personnel because G. Scott's been awesome
Yes, he has.
in these playoffs. And moving Smith into the slot and the tight formations. I think that's how Ohio State's going to win this game. Like there is no defense in the country that wants to see, a 4 wide receiver Ohio State group, and it's got Egbuka and it's got Smith and it's got G. Scott and they're in tight formations and they're taking on linebackers. Like that's how you're going to win this game. I would love to see them be able to just run it down, run it down the pipe and get out of there. That's not going to happen. Notre Dame's not going to let Ohio State, run all. Judkins is going to have moments. Like that's a guy in this game that's going to have big moments. He's ready for it. He's going to knock someone out. He's going to have a big run. Henderson's going to have, we assume a big play. But do I think that they can just line up and go, student body left, student body right? There's no way. You got here because of wide receivers. This program's built on wide receivers. You're going to have to trust your quarterback and wide receivers.
Who are some other players that we believe you should watch tonight and kind of highlight for Ohio State in this game? We'll discuss that next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs even more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate, and the variety of bets keep every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for your winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. So, Jeff, you just touched on a couple guys there, Judkins and Henderson, and what to expect from them in tonight's game. I'm going to turn it over to you first. Who are some other players that you are expecting to have big plays tonight?
I really think, like I wanted to say it earlier, I think it's Emeka Egbuka. This is a guy that does everything right on the field. This is a true, like, I shouldn't say a true. They're all true Buckeyes. But like this is a guy that's been here from day one. I remember when it was a big deal when he signed coming out of high school.
Yeah.
He's done nothing but play. He's had a better season than people think. Like it's one of these things. I don't know if anybody saw, but like Egbuka's had a better season as the second wide receiver than any Notre Dame wide receiver. Like that's how good his second season has been. I mean, he's had 70 catches and several touches, but he does everything right. He's great at finding these holes that I talked about. If the defense turns their back on Howard, Egbuka's a guy that's going to be there to take advantage of it. I know Tate can too, but he's also just a guy that like just brings it on every play. He's always on the field. I think that other players look towards him. it feels like players gravitate towards him. I like how he speaks after the game. I believe that he truly wants this championship as much as anybody. This isn't just going through the motions. I mean, that's my one that I'm like, if you tell me Ohio State wins the national championship, Egbuka is going to have an important game. I don't know how many yards it's going to be. I don't know how many, receptions, but it's going to be an important game, whether it's in downfield blocking, whether it's in receptions or whatever. On defense still, I mean, this is an easy one because he's became an absolute superstar in the last 3 weeks, Cody Simon.
Oh, man.
It's just that's it right there. Like when you talk about Notre Dame's going to want to come out there and run it in your face and drag the tight ends and all these things and have Leonard out there running around. Cody Simon is going to have his hands full if he plays another great game, which again, I'm not going to disrespect the man. Like he's played great for a month. There's no reason I think that he won't do it one more time. So those are the two guys on offense and defense that I'm like, if they have a great game, I am not even concerned.
So, Jeff, I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and there's a guy on offense and a guy on defense that have kind of not only embodied what it means to be a Buckeye, but truly I believe they could be game changers for Ohio State tonight. And I can go any position. Trust me, I could figure out a guy anywhere. But offensively, Will Howard has to cement his legacy as a Buckeye quarterback. Like, yes, he's done a lot of great things. And that wasn't the first guy on my head. And another guy was someone else. But I think this is a Will Howard thing to where Will Howard can cement his legacy as a Buckeye quarterback tonight, where he can go into this game, lead the offense the way that it needs to, make the big boy throws, don't get in his own way and just cement himself as one of those Buckeyes that you're going to remember for a very long time. Different scenario than Cardale Jones of 2014, but Cardale Jones came in as QB3, and all of a sudden he's a household name. He's on TV being an analyst. You can hear him on radio being a guest guy on radio shows and stuff like that. He turned that whole thing into a massive deal for him, as he should. But Will Howard's been here for only one season, been a phenomenal quarterback. He understands what it means to be a Buckeye, and tonight on the biggest stage against a really good defense, he can cement his legacy as a Buckeye quarterback. On defense, though, I'm not going on the D-line, which is weird for me because I'm always talking about Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton, and what these big dogs up front can do. There's another big dog, though. He's in the back. It's number 8, Lathan Ransom.
I knew it.
It's weird, man, because I wanted to go Caleb Downs, but that's almost too easy. Just like going Jeremiah Smith, it's almost too easy.
Yeah.
But we've heard all week, and Notre Dame does it very well. They figured out a way to implement Riley Leonard into the run game.
Yep.
We have seen Lathan Ransom knock out Dylan Sampson, knock out, was it Jordan Love, the running back at Oregon? I mean, just hit him once and they're out the game. Now, I'm not saying he's going to knock out Riley Leonard to where Riley Leonard does not come back into the game, but I do think he's going to have a couple of them hits, those Lathan Ransom type hits, where Riley Leonard's going to think twice about running a certain way or running a particular play. Jeremiah Love's also injured. Talented running back, man. They got Price, a backup running back. These guys are really, really good. But I think Lathan Ransom and his ability to be great in the box, he can be 15 to 20 yards back, all of a sudden stopping the run behind line of scrimmage because his instincts are so elite and he just comes in and just wants to bring the wood, lay the lumber, all that good stuff. I got Will Howard and I got Lathan Ransom. Do you have anybody on the O-line or D-line that you kind of want to highlight?
The young man at center, his name escapes me now, but I just wanted just a shout out to, like, he filled in after, the terrible injury late in the year. We kind of all thought, like, well, that's the season. Like, it just isn't meant to be. He's done a great job filling in for the Remington Award winner.
Yes.
He's done fantastic. You do not see, I thought that, maybe the first couple games Will Howard played with his eyes down a little, which is typically what happens. Everybody runs out of shotgun now. It's really tough. Howard seems to be comfortable with the snap. It doesn't look weird. It feels like he fit in. So, like, it is hard to step into a position like that and take on everything that they do. So, that's the young man that, regardless, like, you've really, we've talked about this. This is the advantage of Ohio State is that you have a center like that can step in and back up and play like he did. If he, again, and just like you talked about, when these guys from Notre Dame are, coming up the middle, they're going to obviously try to fill those gaps and all that. He's going to have a lot on his plate. He's stood up to it so far. It's been fantastic, and he's really saved the season. Like, if we talk about an unsung hero, I forget his name right now, and I apologize. But tomorrow, Monday night after the game, I will have it.
Carson Hinsman, he's been a great replacement in the backup center spot. I'll say this quickly, and then get to our score predictions. Ty Hamilton, to me, is kind of the unsung hero and doesn't get enough attention for how great he is at stopping the run. Tyleik Williams is going to get drafted higher than Ty Hamilton will. That's no surprise at all. Tyleik Williams is a great player. But Ty Hamilton's a dude, man. Well, you need a D tackle that's unselfish and just realizes his job is not going to get talked about. His play, no one's really going to even see. He's just in there doing the dirty work at that one tech position. Ty Hamilton, to me, when it comes to stopping Notre Dame's run sets tonight, I do think Ty Hamilton is the guy. Jeff,
great call.
Start it off with you because I've unveiled my score prediction, but I have to update it. But we have not even heard any thought about a score prediction for you yet for tonight's game. So where's your head at as far as what the outcome of tonight's game is going to be?
I did a show with Mo Murphy earlier, and he asked me the same question, and I said 27-17 Bucks. And then I thought about it. I'm changing it to 27-16 Bucks because I think Notre Dame's either going to need an extra point that they don't get or go for a 2-point conversion. So for some reason, I'm going 27-16. I know that's a really low scoring, college football game for as long as they take and all the timeouts. But I think it's going to be a knockdown drag out. And I think everything we said about the Buckeyes, I think they're up for it.
I said 24-13 on our crossover episode that came out on Sunday. But that wasn't my final score prediction. I told the guy that I normally have a notebook, but my notebook wasn't with me. So I was going off of what's in my head, and the Buckeyes number wasn't correct. I have Ohio State winning 27-13 tonight. I do think in this game, you're going to see a lot of the things that Ohio State has grown from and overcome some adversity in this game. My biggest reason for only 13 points for Notre Dame is not because I think they're going to score 2 touchdowns against Ohio State's defense, or maybe one on offense or one on special teams. I think they're going to be forced to kick field goals early, and they may only score 6 first half points, get a field goal, score a touchdown and a PAT in the third quarter. Then that's it, because this Buckeyes defense is too good. The Buckeyes offense, though, I think you're going to see Will Howard have a game, take what the defense is giving him and exploiting it. I do think if Notre Dame does what I think they're going to do and try to run man-to-man early, you're going to get a Jeremiah Smith touchdown early. You may even get 2 in the first half because that's expected. Like, if you're running man, I don't normally say this about guys. You can run man-to-man against Marvin Harrison Jr. and occasionally see him trip up, not because of the defense, but because of him, because he sometimes got his own way. Jeremiah Smith is a freshman. I almost said rookie. Same thing. But this man is basically playing like a rookie.
Yeah,
But,
he should be a rookie.
I wish. But it sure seems like that in man-to-man, he is the reason why he messes up. And he'll take advantage. He'll take ownership of it. But I just got Ohio State, man. 27-13. Ryan Day gets his first national championship as an Ohio State head coach. And just like Will Howard will submit his legacy, Ryan Day is going to submit his legacy as one of the great Ohio State coaches of all time.
I love it.
Jeff, it's fun, man. It's fun. We got one more squad show tonight after the game. We have about an hour to chop it up afterwards. For those of you that are going to be up late, probably all of us will be up watching the entire game tonight on a Monday night. Come join us live on YouTube. Myself, Jeff Hunt, and hopefully one other person will be live right after the game tonight, live on YouTube only. Myself and Jeff will chop it up for about an hour, instantly reacting to Ohio State versus Notre Dame in the national championship. You can follow him on Twitter at jhunt006. Follow me on the same platform at jstevens07. Buckeye fans, we're up out of here. We'll talk to you after the game.